over the past 20 years or so, the transnational terrorism threat has evolved significantly. 20 years ago, we had the emergence of Al-Qaeda. In Southeast Asia, we came across the Jamaat Islamiyah threat. These were threats from organized terrorist networks, which were relatively hierarchical at that time, 20 years ago. But since then, the threat has evolved. The extremist Islamist ideology that drives Al-Qaeda, JI, and today the likes of ISIS, for example, or in Indonesia, Jamaat Daulah, the East Indonesian Mujahideen in the Philippines, Abu Sayyaf Group, the Maute Group, for example, the extremist Islamist ideology is roughly the same. However, there has been an evolution in the type of the threat. In the past, we had relatively more organized threat networks, but today, with the dissemination of extremist Islamist ideology through social media, we have the rise of so-called lone wolves and self-radicalized individuals. At the same time, we have suicide attacks involving entire families. So there's been an evolution in the type of Islamist extremist threat in Southeast Asia. So in a sense, extremist Islam is an attempt to make sense of this evolving threat. How does it do so? Well, I look at four different types of Islamist extremists in a Southeast Asian context. I look at a Malaysian who was a leading member of the Jamaat Islamiyah network. I look at a Singaporean who was highly influenced by ISIS and has been very active on social media. I look at a Philippines militant who was actively involved in the Abu Sayyaf Group in Mindanao. And I look at an extremist ideologue in Indonesia who was the leading pro-ISIS ideologue in that country. So through these four Southeast Asian case studies, I try to bring across four key points. First, when we talk about violent Islamist ideology, there's a need to be more precise. So I make the point that one should be careful in describing the threat as Salafist. So I suggest to consider the violent Islamist threat in Southeast Asia, or even more generally, as Salafist extremism. The first 2 points of the book are: number one, we should identify violent Islamists as the Salafist extremists of both the soft variety and the hard variety. Number two, we should distinguish the Salafist extremists from the Salafist radicals whom we can deal with and accommodate and negotiate with and have some understanding with, and because they are quite willing to genuinely work within political constitutional systems in Southeast Asia. The third point the book makes is: how does violent Islamists, or as I point out, Salafist extremist ideology get disseminated in the first place? So this is where I talk about the role of ideological ecosystems, in particular, what I call the 3 Ps: persons, platforms, and places. Persons are those individuals who directly influence the extremists in their radicalization trajectory. Platforms are those audio, visual, media, books, publications by extremists who also played a role in the radicalization process of particular individuals in Southeast Asia. And places are where the extremists and vulnerable individuals came together, mixed around, intermingled, and essentially this led to an echo chamber, right, being developed, which contributed to the radicalization of some of these individuals I talk about. And finally, the 4M way: how through message content, message framing, message dissemination, and message receptivity, we can promote positive alternative narratives that can ultimately, hopefully, counter and neutralize the effects of violent Islamist ideology in Southeast Asia, and hopefully beyond. Thank you.